You know, people ask, what happens if your motor dies while you're flying that thing? Are you gonna fall out of the sky? The short answer is yes. Yes, you will. But stick around, guys, and I'll show you how to fall out of the sky safely. Hey guys, how y'all doing? Scary Barry coming at you on this beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous spring afternoon. And we're getting ready to go flying, but I wanted to talk to you all about something that I feel is extremely important, right? So some of my non-paramotor flying friends, they often ask, hey Scary, what happens if your motor dies, man? Does that thing just fall out of the sky? I mean, is it safe? What's going on? And like I said earlier, man, the short answer is yes, you will fall out of the sky. You will start to descend and come down, but no, you're not gonna fall like a rock. It's not like engine off, straight to the ground. That doesn't happen, guys. All wings are different, but all wings also have a glide ratio. So you have so many feet you go forward to how many feet you come down. So it's not just gonna drop straight to the ground. But what I think is extremely important is you need to have bailout points picked out ahead of time and all the time. Whether you're a new pilot, a seasoned pilot, always need to have a bailout point or a safe place to land picked out in your head. And guys, if you watch any YouTube videos and you're watching paramotor pilots out there doing our thing, you know, we're doing wing overs, we're up there talking, we're whatever it may be, I guarantee you any pilot worth their salt, no matter what the conversation is they're having on camera, will always have a safe bailout point picked out in their head in case that engine dies. So what we're gonna do, me and you, is we're gonna go up in the skies and we're gonna find some places and you're gonna help me choose. Is this a safe place to be? If my engine dies right now, can I land? I don't know, you decide. Anyway, let's quit yapping, let's get the gear on, let's get the motor warmed up, and let's get up there, guys. And let's do some flying. All right, guys, while we're warming the motor up, something I wanted to point out, I am flying a 26-meter Sirocco tonight. So that's going to make a big difference in your glide ratio. Bigger wings are going to go more forward. Each foot they go down, they're going to go more feet forward than these smaller 26, 24, and so forth. So the bigger your wing you got, the lighter person you are, it affects that glide range, or that glide that you have on these wings. So that makes a big difference when you're picking out your bailout point. Make sure you can glide to that. Practice that many times to make sure. All right, let's put this big bird in the air. See how she flies tonight. Beauty of flight has been achieved, boys and girls. Yeah, man. All right, guys. For this little test we're gonna do tonight, I am gonna set my trimmers at neutral. Scenario number one, boys and girls. There's a forest in front of me, and I'm about to have an engine out. Are we ready? Come on, everybody, play along. You ready? Engine out in 3, 2, 1. Woo! Okay, so see, I got plenty of glide. I look to my left. I can definitely turn over here to these fields that are wide open. So as long as I'm not directly over those trees, I was safe. And you can see how long I have. If the engine was completely out, you see there's no throttle. I'm just sinking to the ground, right? So once I get to where I would have touched down, I'm going to turn around and show you how far away I glided from those woods. So here we go. We'll do a quick turn. As you can see, right there's the woods. So I had quite a glide range from the top of those trees. Now let's say you want to fly over those trees. You want to fly over those forests. So let's try this. Let's get up a little higher. All right, guys. Same set of woods. Just about triple the elevation that I was before. So my question to you is now, can I cross those woods safely? I know I got bailouts to the right and to the left, but can I go over those woods? Simulated engine out in 3, 2, 1. What do you think? Engine out. Oh no. So as you can see, no throttle. This is strictly just an engine out situation. And I'm clearing these trees by a lot. Now again, it's going to depend on your wing and glide ratio. If I was heavier on a smaller wing, I would come down quicker. But right now, as you can see, I'm clearing these woods with no problem at all. What we want to do, guys, as pilots, especially new pilots, even though it seems like we're up here talking about other things, how beautiful the sunset is. I mean, look at that thing. and we're carrying on conversations about other things. Guys, in the back of my head, I am always scanning. Where can I put down if this motor dies? Where can I go? As you can see right directly ahead of me is a house. First of all, you can't fly over houses. That's not a great idea. But I already know as I work my way across here, there is telephone lines right there where the telephone poles are. And there's houses to the right. So if this engine would die right now, I got to go there. But I always, always, always have a safe out picked. But right now, guys, you make the call. I'm coming up over these woods. If I have an engine out right now, I'm going to look left, and I'm going to look right. Do I have a safe place picked out right now? Let's find out. Engine out. 3, 2, 1, out. Oh, no. Immediately, I knew there was one to my left, so I turned left. Even though I'm up over the woods right now, I have a safe enough height that I can go to the left, and as you see right there is all my safe landing areas. So if we were simulating an actual motor out right now, I'm going to make my landing zone just fine, even though I was over those woods. The key is the height. Guys, you can't skim the top of those trees and expect to make your safe landing. You have to know your glide ratio. All right, so right here I would be preparing to land. I'm about 20, 30 feet off the ground. And so yeah, that was a safe choice. If you chose yes, you were right. Guys, look how far away those woods are that I was over. See that? So that is my glide ratio. So I do not fall straight down. I go forward so many feet for every foot I drop. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, we got a little elevation. I just wanted you to take a gander out here. If you were me and you were looking for safe places to land in case you had an engine out, your bailout spots would be where? Right? There's a whole bunch of them. There's plenty of them tonight because they haven't planted anything in the fields yet. So once the corn and stuff starts growing, guys, those are still an option for a safe engine out situation where you can land a bailout spot. But they're not the best options. You want to look for open grassy areas, kind of like what's out there. Look at the size of that thing. That's what I would aim for if there was crops in this field. So mainly what I'm doing, especially when there's crops on, is, guys, I am literally flying from one safe place to the next. But as the crops start to come on the field, those start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But you always have another out picked out. You look forward 3 or 4, 5 engine outs ahead, right? Always have your next one planned out. I mean, when you drive a car, let's take that for example. When you're driving a car, guys, you don't just look at the rear bumper of the car in front of you. You're always looking out 10 car lengths, 20 car lengths, a quarter of a mile ahead, planning ahead, watching for those brake lights to come on. Paramotoring is no different. No matter what you got going on up here, whether you're making a video like me, listening to music, whatever you're doing, you're always looking ahead 5, 6, 7, 8 different options for your engine out. What we're going to do now is we're going to pretend there's crops on these fields. So we're going to invert this. All the open areas are now going to be crop fields. And guys, as you get better at this, the more you practice, the smaller and smaller and smaller your bailout points will become. Right now, as a beginner, you're looking for the biggest bailout that you can possibly have and know that you can land in safely. As your skills progress, that bailout point can start getting smaller and smaller and smaller because obviously your skills have gotten better and better, so you can land at a smaller space. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend all these are crop fields. I'm going to turn here a little bit. I'm going to hold my tip steering and show you what we're going to aim for. So hopefully it'll show up on the GoPro. But if you look down there, guys, see that little clump of grass? In all that empty field, there's a little spot of grass, right? So let's say we're flying, and this is all full of corn. The object of this is to have an engine out and try to hit that small patch of grass. All right. So as we're flying, we know that that is our safe bailout point, that spot of grass. So we're going to simulate engine out failure in 3, 2, 1. Engine died. Where do we go? Okay, first of all, you can tell by looking at that we are far too high. We're going to overshoot that LZ. So we got to start predicting what this wing's going to do with some S-turns and some slaloms. So we're going to come back this way because we know we missed it. We're going to land in the cornfield. So let's come back this way a little bit. And we're actually flying away from where we want to land. And this is where the practice comes in, guys. You got to know your wing's glide ratio. So if I turn around right now, I'm probably still going to be too high. If I'm guessing, yeah, there it is. So if I stayed on this trajectory, I would overshoot that grassy area. So that's just knowing your wing and knowing its glide ratio. So I would miss that and end up in the cornfield. So we're going to do another turn. And I'm going to take this thing all the way around this time and lose some elevation. You only get one shot at this because remember your engine is dead. It's not working. So now that you know your glide ratio, right there is where I'm aiming. And see how I lost some elevation? And as I come down, I'm going to still come out to the right a little bit and then turn left. And I would be able to put it down right there. So that's the plan, right? Know your wing. All right, guys. Here we go. Directly in front of me is the woods. So your call. Am I safe or not safe? Engine out. 3, 2, 1. Out. Getting awful close to those trees. Oh boy. Just barely got over those guys. Just barely. So, if your call was no, you're wrong. Just barely made that one. If your call was yes, good job, guys. Woo! All right, let's have a little fun. Yeehaw! Yeah, boys! Woo! All right, guys. Am I safe right now? Engine out. In 3, 2, 1. Absolutely. I just level out, come down and put her on the ground. So I was absolutely safe, even in all those turns, as long as you're thinking ahead of what's going to happen when this engine dies, you can be somewhat fairly safe. All right, boys and girls, water, the #1 killer of a paramotor pilot. If you don't have flotation, my recommendation is you always stay away from water. You don't fly over water without flotation or a secondary out that is on dry land. For instance, this little pond we got in front of us, not only is it surrounded by trees, that right there is today I have no floats, so that's a good possibility I could drown, right? So if you look, I'm not going to go over that. I'm going to stay out here where I've got it out. I can just shoot left if anything happens. Other than that, I can skim over this water and skim over these trees. The reason being is simply because while I'm doing this, I have this out right to my left. I have water and trees to my right, but I have an out immediately to my left. Let's practice another spot landing. You guys ready? So I don't know if it's going to show up on the GoPro or not, but right out there is a little pump house, right there. So my goal is to be able to hit that pump house. That is my spot landing without help of my motor. So let's kill this thing and see if I can hit my mark. 3, 2, 1. Engine is out, and I am sinking. So let's look at that engine house. I'm too high if I turn toward it right now. That only comes from experience, guys. So I'm going to do some S-turns. The only way you know that is if you've done plenty of practicing on your glide ratio and practice your engine out. So I'm going to turn back toward it. And I absolutely am on target now. So if I was landing right there, I would absolutely have landed right where I was aiming. Have a look around me. Have you picked out a spot? Nothing but trees and water in front of me. Do you have a spot picked out? Let's see if we do the same thing. Engine out. 3, 2, 1. Boom, it's gone, right? I'm going to circle to the right. Plenty of time to make that field right there. Plenty of time. I'm way up here. As a matter of fact, let's look out. Let's pick some other options. I got this big field, which I would land in absolutely if I was a beginner. That's where I'd be headed. But let's say all I have is this little spot over here, right in between those two trees. Right there and there is the only place I got. Can we hit that little area? Absolutely can. We're going to do something different. We're going out over what looks to be unsafe. Just because I'm too high, I need to lose some elevation. This part gets a little weird, right? You gotta be safe and trust your glide ratio. So now I'm going to turn back to the right. Even though I'm over water, I'm still climbing down out of the sky. I'm still too high, so I'm going to circle back around over these trees again. Now see, I'm over these trees a lot. But I know if I turn hard left, now I'm right where I want to be. I'm out here in the open. Before I was too high, I would have overshot this LZ by a long ways. Instead, I'm ready to land right now. Boom! Right between the two trees, like I said, guys. Ah, can I get a thumbs up? Can I get a thumbs up? All right, guys, so I had to get some elevation, and I had to lose the shades, right? So current situation, baseball field, track field, bunch of houses, place I ain't supposed to be, woods to my right. What's your call? Let me show you what's over here. And what's over there. So if I have an engine out, guys, where are you going? Well, there's a couple options, to be honest with you. All kinds of grassy areas down here for me to land, but that's somebody's yard, right? That's getting towards town. But it's doable. It's just not the ideal option. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different places, 6 that I can land from this height with that glide ratio. But what I want to do is go over there to that field. Just a big open field, nobody there to bother me. So that's what I'm going to aim for, guys. At this height, can I get over those trees? Can I make that field? Head in this direction, can I make that turn and make that field? Your call. 3, 2, 1. Engine out, boys. Whoa. Catch that surge. Immediately I know I can land there. But I want to go there, away from people or any crowded areas. Especially if I'm a new pilot, I'm going for the biggest safe LZ I can find. So even though I am currently, right now, I'm going to look down for you. Guys, I am currently over a heavy wooded area. But I have such an elevation that my glide ratio is absolutely taking me where I want to go, right to that field. And that's what you learn the more you practice this and the more you do it. Matter of fact, if you look right now, I'm actually going to be high to land in that LZ. So what would you do at that point? You have no engine to help you out. You got to get it right the first time. You know you're going to overshoot that. What do? Don't be afraid to turn around. As long as you have the height, turn around. Know your LZ is directly behind you, and you're going to fly back out over these trees. I'm probably 500, 600 feet above these trees. Now, don't get carried away with it. Don't go back where you started, especially when you're new. Turn back around. See how much elevation you've lost. Can you make that LZ now? Is it doable? And if you still think you're high, do it again. Guys, you have plenty of elevation above these trees. Just keep working your way closer and closer to that tree line, that edge of that tree line to your LZ. Now, at a certain point, you're not going to have any choice. You don't want to go back out over the trees, ever. I wouldn't come back out at this height, but I'm aiming for that field right there, and I'm heading right for the dead middle of it the best I can. I think I can make that now. So turn right, and oh no, I'm too high. I'm going to end up hitting that farmhouse. Now what do? Don't turn back over those trees. You're way too low now. That's very unsafe. You don't want to hit the farmhouse. That's also very unsafe. So do a little turn, a little S turn they're called. Go left, go to the right, and do that as many times as you need to, back and forth, until you get down to where you need to be. And then you land it. Boom. And just like that. All right, guys, so here's what we're going to do next. This right here is actually my LZ. This is my home. This is where I live. You see the space I have to land. In the backyard is usually where we land. So let me go over the top of it here. But I have all that space, and it looks like a pretty good sized landing zone, right? It's actually kind of small and tight. So I was lucky enough to learn on a tight LZ. But as you can see, it comes out, and it goes that way to the right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go up high, and we're actually going to kill this motor. And we're going to land at home, guys. We're going to actually, instead of simulating an engine out, we're actually going to shut this off. And it only gives us one shot, right? We got to make sure we land it. Let's get up there and finish the night off like that. All right, guys, we have some elevation. And as you can see, there's bailouts anywhere you look. From this elevation, you're almost limitless of your bailouts. Pick a place, head that way, right? Once you get high, height is your friend when it comes to engine outs. But let's get lined up on my LZ at my house. Let's turn around and see if we can find it. I guarantee you it's much, much smaller now than it was when we flew over it earlier. So yeah, that's it right there, right in between the two ponds. You guys can see out there, right in between those two ponds is my LZ. Now do you see how small that LZ got from up here? It's very tiny looking, right? But I'm going to have a lot of time to get there. So that's where we want to go. That's where we want to land. Do you think we can pull it off? I don't know. You decide. 3, 2, 1. Actual engine cut off now. So quiet without that motor, right? So if that really would have happened in real life and I was this high, and let's say you're a new pilot, you may panic a little bit. What I want you to do is fight that urge to panic. Look at your LZ, where you want to go, which is that way, and then you're going to turn toward it. Nice and slow. You don't want to drop out of the sky real fast. You don't need to do any crazy maneuvers. But that right there is my LZ. I have plenty of time to get where I need to go. So don't panic. Think about what you're doing and line up for that. Start working your way over it. You know you're way too high right now. If I would go straight, I'd end up in that water probably. You know, I'm too high to land right there below me. So I'm just going to circle the field a little while. And I know from when I took off, we have 0 wind tonight. So it's not really going to much matter which direction I land. So I'm going to land long ways on that land. Oh, but in the meantime, I'm just going to enjoy this nice, quiet float down. The beautiful night. I'm so happy spring is here. All right. So my LZ is behind me. So I'm going to turn to the right just a little bit. Get my LZ in sight so it's not behind me. Since I'm going to land this way, coming in this way, I'm going to go out and turn toward the field. Get lined up with the direction I want to go. But guys, I hope you're realizing right now, you see how much time you have when you're high. The higher you are in elevation, I mean, your time to process and think of a safe place is so much longer. You have plenty of time to decide. So I'm going to turn to the right now. And we're going to start putting that LZ in sight in front of me. As you can see, it's about right there. That's where I want to go. I'm still facing away from it, right? But I know if I turn toward it, I'll still be too high. So I got to bleed off some elevation. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a turn toward it. I should be high enough to make it without overshooting it. And that only comes with practice, guys. Like I said, practice this maneuver over and over and over again. So it looks like I got plenty of room for the field, so I'm going to get down out on my seat and prepare myself for a landing. Nice and easy. There's no turning back now. Hands high. And simply just set it down. Nice and easy. You don't need that motor. Yeah. Just like that. Bring the wing down. Walk to the low side. GoPro GoPro got one of my lines. All right, guys, I'm going to clean up all the shenanigans and get it put away, and I'll talk to y'all in just a second. So heck yeah, guys, down safe and sound. What a great flight. I had a good time tonight. So bailout points, absolutely an essential tool in any paramotor pilot's toolbox. You got to have that, guys. Practice, practice, practice those spot landings. And as I said, wind direction, your weight, what wing you're flying, all that stuff makes a huge difference. Got to practice for you on your wing. So go up high, pick a nice big open safe field that you can mess up and maybe come in short, maybe go in long and still land and be safe and be okay. Shut that motor down to idle. Leave it going just in case you need it. If you're coming in too low or too high, leave it on, leave it running just in case. But practice for those situations when you won't have that motor. And I promise when it happens to you, you'll be a much safer pilot for it. Anyway, guys, I had a great time tonight, and I hope you did too, and I appreciate you coming along with me. It's always fun to have you up there flying around. I hope I didn't get too technical, and I hope I didn't bore you too much, but hopefully we both learned something together tonight. Anyways, until next time, guys, you know I love you, and I'll see you in the skies. Scare Barry out. Have a good one, guys.